Hello and welcome to the Lean Yak. My name is Vin. I'm a coach at MeatRx.com, Carnivore Diet coach at the moment, working my fasting certification. I just got back from a 26 kilo weighted walk, so I'm 4 kilos from my 30 kilo weighted walk goal, on my way to my dream goal of 50 kilos. And that brings me to something I wanted. I'm happy to make my first legit video for this channel aside from the introduction and stuff, which is what I think is the most important thing at the outset for carnivore, or any dietary change you do, goal setting. This is something that is applicable to anything, but specifically, I'll be tuning this specifically to the carnivore diet because that's the coach for, and this video is mostly for people who are interested in diet or who I'm personally coaching to give you an idea of where to start. And honestly, before the diet, before eating beef, salt, water, or whatever you choose to do, there's a number one thing you need to do to actually start the ball rolling, and you should do this before doing any of the rest. I said the word do there a lot. Whatever. The point is, goal setting is where it's the nexus for getting everything moving. And if you do that wrong, then you're setting yourself up for failure. If you set impossible goals from the outset or poorly structured goals from the outset, you will never meet them. Therefore, you'll never be motivated. Therefore, you'll never stick to the diet or whatever you're doing. And therefore, you'll fail. Because motivation's king. Well, some people say sleep is king, but motivation's up there. Anyway, so there are 5 goals. It sounds like a lot, but bear me out. There are 5 goals I think you need to set if you are starting out with any dietary change or any lifestyle change. So speaking about the carnivore diet by itself in particular, the first goal, I'll go through all 5 and I'll do them sequentially just so you can get the idea about it. Take your pens out because I want you to set these goals yourself if you're transitioning or if you're going into the diet. So the first goal, it's a simple goal and it's a very important one. The first goal is to have a transition plan, to complete a transition plan. What is a transition plan? It is a way to get from where you are in terms of dietary intake or whatever you're eating, whatever you're stuffing into your face, to being, I would say at the outset, just go for it. Go for hog. It's a transition from where you are to being 100% carnivore. That's at the outset. We can test and adjust later, but for the initial piece, where you are to 100% carnivore. And in my personal preference is beef, salt, and water. So maybe coffee. Let's just put that aside there, but let's go into what a transition plan is. So what you need in a transition plan, you need to assess where you're starting from. If you're starting with a lot of vegetables in your diet, I suggest you do a slow transition, maybe over 2 to 4 weeks, and you'll find a very similar recommendation in Dr. Sean Baker's book, The Carnivore Diet. So what that looks like is the first week you are starting off with 1 fully carnivore meal a day. You progress to 2 fully carnivore meals a day, and then in the second week you're kind of at your 3 carnivore meals per day, but maybe dropping that down 1 day or so. And then by the end of the week, you're just solid 3 carnivore meals a day, or only 2 meals a day, or 1 meal a day, but it's all carnivore. So that's an example of a 2-week transition plan. The more vegetables, like this is just a general rule of thumb, because there's many reasons for this, such as oxalates and other compounds in vegetables that could complicate, let's just say, the dietary transition. The more vegetables you have in your prior diet, the longer you should plan the transition, but you shouldn't need, in my opinion, more than about 2 or 3 weeks to maybe 4 weeks. And if you have a coach, obviously that's where you should start from. A coach will run you through that and give you maybe even a plan. But if you're doing it yourself, goal 1, complete a transition plan. Have it on paper. What I also suggest to be in your transition plan is what kind of carnivore foods would you want to be eating? Like, what would make it enjoyable for you to do this transition? If you have that as part of your plan, then you can plan your shopping trips, have it all ready to go. Be in a state where you're looking forward to your meals because, oh man, I can't wait to have 2 steaks tomorrow. If you can get yourself looking positively towards your transition, you're just winning. Bonus points there. So, goal 1, have a transition plan. Maybe the easiest goal. If you're coming from keto, like a mostly meat diet, your transition plan could be 2 sentences: beef, salt, and water tomorrow. So, happy days. Like, if that's your plan, go for it. Again, if you have more vegetables, maybe taper it down a bit. But if not, then go for it. And again, if you do it and you have significant problems, you can always back off. Like, nothing here is going to make you explode into a shower of gore. Like, you feel free to experiment. Take a risk if you are comfortable with doing so. If you have medical issues, I would say slow down, maybe consult your doctor. I'm not a doctor, I'm just a coach. So if you have significant medical issues, then take a moment and pause and think about your transition, or contact a coach, and we can help you with it to some extent, but definitely contact your doctor if it's a more significant issue. But if you're like 23, 22 years old, a guy or gal, pretty not terrible shape, coming from keto or coming from something low carb, or coming from fasting, jump in, go for it, as long as you're comfortable with that risk profile. Happy days. I encourage it if you can. If you're coming from no conditions, take a risk. That's what life's about. But hey, you don't have to take that from me. Proceed at your own will. But goal 1, have a transition plan. Now, the second goal you need of the 5 goals, the second goal you need is to complete your transition. It sounds ridiculous, but having the plan is just the first part. As a short goal, it's doable within 30 minutes to an hour, if you think about it. Or if you want to go visit your doctor, about a day. You can, by the end of a day, you can finish writing down your transition plan. I'd encourage you to write it down. But the second goal is complete your transition plan. Now, I know that people are starting this diet to do all kinds of things: solve their autoimmune issues, solve their weight issues, solve their metabolic issues, gut issues, all kinds of things. But really, what's important is get started with the diet. Don't rush things. Set goals that are achievable short term with the longer term goal in mind, which is where we get to 3, 4, and 5. But for number 2, your second goal, the thing you should have in your head when you're starting the diet, is complete the transition. You have your plan, do the plan. And when I say complete the transition, say your plan was beef, salt, and water tomorrow. Now, yeah, like technically you achieve the transition if you go one day without beef, salt, and water. But what I know, when you write a plan like that, I know what you mean. I mean, transition to only eating beef, salt, and water for a while. And what I would suggest here is, if your plan did incorporate like a 2-week segment or a 1-week segment, and that's all the transition you thought you needed, or your coach suggested, then complete that. Complete the 1 week, complete the 2 week. If it had no duration, like beef, salt, water tomorrow, then go for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, beef, salt, and water only. If that was your plan, stick with it. Complete the transition. If you have issues along the way, Google them, contact a coach. Something like diarrhea is not always prevalent, but can happen. It usually tapers off really quickly. If you feel low energy, get up your salt levels, get up your magnesium levels. And when I say salt, I mean both sodium and potassium. And there's like light salt, which is a mix of the two that you can get. But beyond that, really, like, stick to your plan, complete your transition. And so you're ticking these goals off the list. And that's part of the goal setting process. And something I learned from financial planning a long time ago is, straight up, your goals, if you get that ball rolling and start having successes towards your end goal early on, the more goals you set, really, the more tick boxes you're checking, the better you feel, the more motivated you get, and the more likely you are to stick to the overall plan and reach the end. So anyway, first goal, write a transition plan. Second goal, do your transition completely. And if you didn't have a duration on it, set 2 weeks. So if it's just beef, salt, water, then do beef, salt, water for 2 weeks. That's my personal recommendation. Step 3. So goal number 3. I'm getting used to this camera thing. Goal number 3 is whatever you're trying to solve. Say you want to do weight loss, which is my personal specialty. Set a reasonable goal that's say 10% of what you actually want. It sounds like a low number, but I want to give it something like scalable. So that's why I'm doing it in terms of a percentage. So say you want to lose 150 pounds, 15 pounds. That's your first one, first goal. Say when you lose 10 pounds. Now, 1 pound is a bit low because that'll probably just be water weight, very potentially. So maybe in that case, if you think about it, what you actually want to do is go from 15% body fat to 12% body fat. In which case, you want to lose what's that? 3% body fat total. So 0.3% to 0.5% body fat is your first goal, and that gives you okay, it's something very achievable. Probably it might even happen in that first 2 weeks. And if it does happen in that first 2 weeks, just double it. Set it again. So it's pretty easy. What I'm trying to get you to do is get you a short-term goal to aim for that takes you a little bit longer to transition to hit. Once you hit that goal, then again, it's another checkbox that you're checking off. Down your list, down your list, down your list. So that goal number 3 is one I'll come back to later. So first one, write a transition plan. Second one, do the transition. Third one, hit the first goal. If your goal was something along the lines of curing my skin rash, then maybe that first goal is the differences noticeable in the mirror. And if that happens within your transition period, then you can shift it to, again, double it. The rashes halve, or the appearance of rashes halve. And that could be your first achievable goal number 3. Now let's move on to goal number 4. Goal number 4 is, in my opinion, a fun one to set, and one that is the one that motivates me personally the most. But for some people, it's just like a intermediary. So I still would recommend you doing it. Goal number 4: set your dream goal. This is, for example, if you are 200 pounds, a girl, and you're 5'2", right? The dream goal would be what weight would you have to be in the perfect dressed size to get the perfect man to look at you, whatever, get that guy from work or whatever, I want to be a size 2 or a size 4 or whatever it is. So say you're 200 pounds, and to get into a size 2 or size 4, you have to be 120 pounds. That's your dream goal. So you have complete transition plan, do the transition, a small achievable goal number 3, and then your dream goal. That's your possible endpoint, the one you think that if you tried as hard as you can, you could probably get there and it seems achievable. So say, for example, where you are currently, you don't even think getting to 120 pounds is achievable. Fair. That's fair enough. I used to be in that kind of mindset as well. I didn't think I could get down to where I am at now when I started. In that case, just put the lowest number you think you can hit. So if you're 200 pounds and you're like, oh, maybe if I could just, I would love to lose 30 pounds so I can fit into that wedding dress I used to. There you go. So 170. So in that case, it would be 200 pounds. I want to lose 30 pounds. The first goal is 3 pounds weight loss. The dream goal is 30 pounds weight loss. And finally, goal number 5. This is the 5th goal I want you to set. This is the one I want to push you with. This is the one that, for me, I fear, but for other people is just the most motivating thing ever. And that is the impossible goal. I want you to write this down. I want you to write this is past my dreams. This is something that's so incredible that I don't think I'll ever get there. It is it is not going for the moon, it is going for the stars. In my case, that is 10% body fat. I don't think I'll ever get there. I don't even know if it's, as I said, it's an impossible goal. It is something that I would love to be able to do. I'd love to be jacked, like ripped, like Ryan Gosling in that one movie that everyone knows, with him with his shirt off. That I want to be that guy. I don't think I'll ever get there, but it'll be freaking awesome. And that's what I wrote down. I want to be 10% body fat. So I think I wrote down 11. Pretty sure that's what he was in that movie. So write down your impossible goal. So maybe for that lady, who was preferably lady who's 200 pounds and wants to get down to size 2, she writes, is there goal number 1? So goal number 3, lose 3 pounds. Goal number 4, lose 30 pounds, like your dream. Like if you could do that, then absolutely successful in everything you want to do. And then just write down goal number 5, the impossible goal, 120 pounds. Because let me tell you, if you beat your goal number 4, that's the moment that you actually start thinking that goal number 5 is doable. And when you think goal number 5 isn't impossible anymore, and that's why I said I fear it, because I'm pretty close to beating my goal number 4. When you start thinking goal number 5 is in reach, that's when the fire within you starts, and that's when you start winning, because nothing will stop you from that point forward. It'll just be a obsession. As long as it remains healthy, and again, contact a coach. Coaches are good for you. But whatever, not plugging my own stuff, but keep in mind that you have to keep that balance between practicality and outcome and everything else in your life. Like you can't have your whole life be about diet. But when you get that fire in you, when you think you can actually do something that you previously thought was impossible, that is a great feeling. And that's why I want you to set 5 goals. So with that, quick rundown. Goal number 1, write a transition plan. It's an easy goal, gets you rolling, and it's very intrinsically important to the process. Plan out. If you have a lot of vegetables, taper it down. If you don't have enough, if you're coming from keto, maybe you could just jump straight into it. Whatever it is, write a transition plan. And if you think you don't need much time, set a timeline of 2 weeks. Do the plan for 2 weeks if you don't need much time. If you actually have a 4-week plan, follow the 4-week plan and complete the transition. Number 2, do the transition. If you get to the end of it, give yourself a treat. I don't mean an ice cream, because that's obviously breaking the diet. I mean something like buy yourself a small gift. Go out for a date with your wife or something. Like just do something that's external to diet. Like go out for a great steak at the best steakhouse that you can afford. Like something like that. So give yourself a treat when you hit that second goal. Sorry, because that's you've earned it. Like who else? You're probably 0.001% of the world who completed a transition to the Carnivore Diet. Like that's something to be proud of. Do it. Great job. And then so that's goal number 2. Goal number 3, achievable goal. Again, when you hit that goal, and you'll probably do it, you should reward yourself, but because you've set an achievable goal, don't make it too lavish. Don't have a giant cheat day or anything like that, but give yourself something or at least pat yourself in the back or throw a little mini party for yourself in your home. Like me, like I'm alone in my apartment or whatever. I might just play give myself a night to play a video game for a night. And then goal 4, that's when the world starts changing, when your dream goals and your impossible goals go. I did want to say I want to go back to goal number 3. With goal number 3, I mentioned earlier that that's the one that can change. That's a great one because essentially if you think of the 5 goals, the first 2 are fixed, the last 2 are fixed, and number 3 is the one that you can keep changing. And number 3 is the one that you should change. And that's your little like carrot and the stick. It's your small achievable goal on the way to your dream that you can keep shifting. But note that, so how I've set it out is like, okay, 10% of what your total goal is. A good way to do it is just to keep progressing it by 10%. Why? Because weight loss slows. And a lot of things like this, a lot of permanent changes to your physiology or metabolism, etc., slow as you progress. So keeping on setting it 10% away lets you essentially account for the fact that each one is more difficult to get to, and you want them to be a bit further apart from each other because you want to train yourself to stick to what you're doing. And if you're not getting there, then you also want to be able to go, okay, wait, I'm not getting there. Why am I not progressing to this goal as fast as I want to? And that gives you the fire to keep adjusting and perfecting your process. And if you keep perfecting your process, that's how you get to the dream. So there you go. That's like the idea for goal number 3. So with that, those are the 5 goals you just set. I have one last thing to say before I cut off this video. That thing is, keep your goals in mind. Aim for the dream goal, or if you're feeling ballsy, aim in your heart for the impossible goal. Because I reckon it's like classic thing. If you aim for the stars, you'll land on the moon. Like, go for it. But I do want to say, be prepared to fail. And as we said in the military, every plan lasts until the second you meet the enemy. And then everything goes to hell. So be prepared for that. And 2 steps forward, 1 step back is not a bad thing. If you fail to progress towards your goal 3 or your adjusted goal 3, that's okay. Stick to the plan. And when I say that, I mean, if the plan's not working, adjust the plan. Talk to a coach. Review online. Figure out what you need to change or why it's not progressing the way you want it to progress, and perfect the plan and stick to it and keep perfecting it, as I said. And if you do that, that impossible goal, man, I'm getting close to mine. Which is why I'm scared of it. Like I didn't even know how to feel. But yes, good luck to you. Hopefully you have the luck I do. I'm going to go off and do a 1 hour walk before heading to sleep. So thank you for watching this episode of The Lean Yak. See you next time.